What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I am your host, Robert, and today we're going to be talking about and discussing 20th Century Boys Perfect Edition Volume 3. So let's get to it. Alright, so welcome back. As usual, if this is your first time here, welcome to Dad Needs to Talk. If you've been rocking with me for a while, then welcome back. As usual, make sure to like, subscribe, follow the podcast, go to dadneedstalk.com, go to the YouTube channel, all that fun stuff to get everything from me and more. So, like I said right off the top, finally, it has been many, many months coming. I think it's been about 2 months since I did the last 20th Century Boys book. Now, I'll go ahead and just mention up top, because this is my first time doing this in a while, and this is going to be on YouTube as well as on the podcast stream. If you have not heard my first two discussions / read-throughs of the first two books from the series, then go to dadneedstalk.com or look for Dad Needs to Talk and just search for that and 20th Century Boys Volume 1 and Volume 2, and you'll find both of those. But hopefully going forward, I'll be doing video reviews as well as audio as well, like I said, going forward. So, but yeah, I'll have those linked in the description box below as well. So, just in case if anybody wants to listen to those or go back and listen to them if you haven't, they'll be there for you. But as usual, I'm gonna kind of do just like a general talk up front about this, and then I'm gonna go into some really deep, specific spoilers, because I'm actually gonna kind of go through this volume, because so much stuff freaking happened. Because these volumes have 21 to 22 chapters, and a lot happens in that time. So we're gonna kind of like I said, talk our way through it, break it down. But just up front, another awesome, beautiful cover. And I'll talk about the person on the cover in a little bit, because I was very surprised when I found out who it was. But yeah, I freaking loved it. It honestly, as soon as I got like a handful of chapters in, I was immediately like, man, I wish I did not, I wish that it hadn't been 2 months. And that I'm that I had got a chance to keep on reading. But hey, life happened, different things happened to where, I wasn't able to read the series for a little bit. But I'm back on it, and hopefully going forward, I'll be doing at least minimum, fingers crossed, at least one of these a month, if not more. But yeah, so we are back in it. We are back with our heroes. And I guess, just to kind of, just to say up front, just in case if somebody is here for the first time and you have no clue what 20th Century Boys is. So 20th Century Boys is I guess kind of a sci-fi thriller series, to where basically it follows this group of friends. I would say boys, but there is a girl or some girls, females mixed in the bunch. But basically it's a story about a group of friends who basically, the story kind of goes back and forth between the present day time and back in the past when they were kids, elementary, middle school, so on and so forth. And it kind of follows the story of them trying to figure out who from their past is doing all these crazy, horrific things around the world now, because basically somebody that they knew hasn't been revealed, but somebody that they knew and grew up with grows up and basically starts this cult, and they're spreading this virus all across the world, and it's pretty crazy. And so this group of characters, they end up banding together to honestly save the world, as crazy as it sounds, but that's where it eventually leads. So that's the general premise of the story. And so I'm going to kind of start off by reading the synopsis of this one, as well as the little kind of general catch up inside. So for this one, it is for volume 3, the giant robot has been built, awaiting its great awakening, but the friend's identity has yet to be revealed. Time passes day by day. counting down to December 31st, 2000, the day that Earth is destined to see its end. The only ones who can save the world are the 9 friends who wrote the book of prophecy in their childhood days. Will humanity enter the new world, the new century, safe and sound? And so going on from there, the kind of catch up part of this was basically the story so far. So Tokyo 2000, Kenji, our main character, Kenji has been labeled a terrorist and is living in the subway after trying to resist the rise to power of the Friendship and Democracy Party spawned by the friend himself. Starting with Okcho, who had been living in Thailand, Kenji is gathering his friends to try to halt the friend's biological weapons attack. However, the Book of Prophecy has revealed that the day of the apocalypse is December 31st, 2000, and every second brings the date closer. Can humanity make it safely to the 21st century? So, yeah. So pretty much, yeah, the story, you know, like I said, like what I just read, pretty much just picks up right back where things were in book 2. And yeah, we just see Kenji and the crew basically trying to like gather their forces, trying to, you know, gather supplies, backup, and all this stuff, while also in hiding and on the run. Because, you know, as we learned previously, it's like the friends, all these people, they are freaking everywhere. They are parts of the schools, the government, police force, everywhere. And so it's just always a question of like, okay, who can you trust? And that question comes up so much in this volume, because like the way things twist and turned and the way things connected, like that is something that this series, and I'm only 3 books in of 11, not counting the bonus 21st century one, but of the main 20th Century Boys, I'm only on book 3 of 11 of the perfect editions. And so much has happened, but it is just so good about like setting up these multiple threads to have you just guessing like, okay, what is going on? Who is this character? Why do they matter? And then eventually, as the story goes on, you start to see all these characters and their paths start to like, you know, intersect and bob and weave. So yeah, seeing how all this stuff is just like intersecting, how all these characters end up, you know, being connected, it's so freaking good. And the way the pieces in this volume slowly started to fall into place, because it's like okay, like we're following, you know, we're following some stuff with Kana, we're following some stuff with some new detective, we're following some stuff with some dude in prison. And you know, if I just kind of just like wrote out, you know, like in general, like, okay, here are kind of like 3 characters that got focused on, you know, in this story. Honestly, on the surface of it, you would think like, okay, are these 3 different storylines, 3 different series? But it's like, no, they all play their part in how they intersect and interweave. And so, yeah, and pretty much like by the time I was done with this volume, I was like, man, I wish I had volume 4, because I am just so freaking ready to dive into the next one. But I'm trying to maintain. I'm trying to be steady in my journey. But man, it is so freaking hard when the material you're reading is so freaking good. So let's kind of start kind of diving into some more specifics of like some specific stuff that happened. Because I'm trying not to go too long, but we'll see where the journey takes us. So buckle in, grab your books if you have a copy, because like I said, we're about to go into specifics and spoilers. So hey, if you have not read this for whatever reason and you're still listening, thanks for tuning in. But we're about to get into some spoilers, but just know, hey, this was freaking fantastic, and I cannot wait to read the next one. So let's dive into some freaking specifics. So first of all, the person on the cover of this was freaking Kana. I did not expect that. And I think because of, you know, with it being in color, and just like, you know, of course, this is her older. This is like, what, 14 years have passed and stuff. And so now she's like in her late teens and stuff. And so when So I guess let me back up a bit or whatever. So this volume kind of started off, with us, still following Kenji and the crew as, basically, like I said, like they're still trying to like figure stuff out. And so, part of the thing that the friend told them was like, hey, y'all need 9 people. Well, one of the friends, he just wasn't going to be a part of it or whatever. And so one of them, they got the idea of like, hey, let's recruit the two twins that have like was bullying them all of their childhood. But it was revealed, or throughout the story, whatever, we find out later on, the main characters don't find this out or whatever, but we find out that these 2 suckers, so first of all, when we see their grown-up designs, it is like, yo, are these the 2 little chunky boys that was doing wrestling moves and stuff on our main characters? Because now they professionals, businessmen, maybe co-owners of some company or something. I don't know. They wearing suits and ties. But anyway, so somebody from Kenji's group, ends up going to talk to them and being like, hey, we're trying to do this thing. We're trying to take down this group, And of course, talking too much, gives them a freaking map. And then we find out later on that these 2 are actually part of the cult. And that's what leads to Kenji them's hideout getting raided. And so, yeah, all heck break loose. So they had to escape from the place that they were at. And, all their weapons they had finally got up, all the dynamite that they had, all that stuff got confiscated. But anyway, that stuff was just so freaking wild. And then I loved early on there was a chapter titled Uncle Kenji. And it was just a simple chapter of, for the most part, just Kenji and Kana just bonding. He's taking her out, treating her, going out for ramen, hanging out, playing music and stuff, whatever, because, at some point he eventually sends her off with his mother to go, hey, y'all need to get far away from her with her. So he sends her off with his mother. But a little bit later on, she ends up running away from his mom and then taking a bus or whatever back and coming and, going back with them. And then that's, that basically leads up to the moment when, to where basically the robot thing kind of gets unleashed and starts like destroying parts of the city, unleashing the virus and stuff, whatever, and stuff was just like looking super, super bad. And so one little detail that I did appreciate is like learning where the little eye on the hand symbol came from. And Okcho pretty much just said it was the symbol, it was the hand or the finger from like the Jump comics when he was a kid. And then the fact that when he was a kid, he was kind of like, got made fun of for being bug-eyed. And so that's what the symbol is. And so everybody just had a freaking funny laugh off of that. But, then things, like I said, things just pretty much just went from there. And then it got to the point to where the group went to, or pretty much like we kind of like cut off with the group going to confront the robot. And one last little detail I want to mention, when Kenji first sent Kana off, he puts his little white hat that he has on her head, and it honestly kind of gives me, it really hit me in the heart, because those of y'all that know, obviously by the freaking channel name, I'm a dad. But with the Uncle Kenji stuff, whatever, I have a lot of nieces and nephews. So I've been an uncle since I was freaking 4 years old. So I have many nieces and nephews. So when he put the hat on her head, honestly, it reminded me of like Shanks putting the hat on Luffy's head in One Piece type of moment. But anywho, so yeah, so we have the moment where the group is kind of like walking down the street, going to confront the giant robot, and then we get a freaking massive 14-year time skip, which caught me super off guard, because next thing I know, it's like the year 2014. I'm like, what the hell happened? Where did these 14 years go? I'm guessing things are okay, because there's still a world for them to live in 14 years later. But that 14-year time jump, and then like I said, us following it, and then like at first not knowing that was freaking an older Kana, but all that stuff was just like with the setup with Kana, her living her little apartment by herself, the manga artist neighbors that she had, and like how that played into the story a little bit later on, to where it was just so wild that like these neighbors that was annoyed by her playing her uncle's music all the time, them being vital to the plot later on, because I really loved how a little bit later on where we get to the other manga artist that got thrown in jail, and we end up finding out that freaking Ocho, or aka Shogun, has been in this prison for pretty much the whole 14 years in solitary confinement. And then I love that moment where the two started talking, and then the guy just kind of just rambling or whatever, and he ends up talking about his manga artist friends and how they would write him letters telling him about, this annoying girl that they had next door, named Kana, and yada yada yada. And then when Shogun started piecing stuff together, it was like, hey, this is fate. The fact that just somebody that got thrown into solitary confinement here happens to know somebody who knows Kana means that, okay, I need to get out of here ASAP because she's in danger. And she is in mega danger, because seeing like now, let me just say this, like, Kana is freaking a badass. She's like holding her own, because even like the beginning of the time jump where we see her, she's working at this little like restaurant in this like very rough part of town, and she gets word of these two gangs, I think like the Chinese and the Thai, or two mafias basically going head to head. And the fact that this teenage girl goes in there and just shuts that ish down. She's like, yo, y'all got to squash this, type of stuff. And even to the point to where she's up there like freaking Matrix, like Ultra Instinct Goku, just dodging bullets and stuff, whatever. And yeah, she's just so freaking awesome the way she's just like handling herself. And that, she's multilingual, so she's speaking all these languages to all these different gang groups and stuff. And she even tells them like, yo, squash this beef, and if y'all got a problem, have y'all boss come down here and talk to me. And they did. Both groups sent their bosses down there, whatever, to her, to this ramen shop that she loved. And they squashed their beef, and they squashed the beef over bowls of ramen. I thought that was so freaking awesome. And so the next interesting part of this story that I loved was the introduction of Detective Chono, and finding out that he was the grandson of Chosan from freaking book 1, from volume 1. The awesome detective that unfortunately got taken out super early, because like he had like a day or so, or maybe a week, a day before he retired. And y'all know, like, come to find out that like this other detective, his so-called buddy, was a friend and took him out. And so the way all that stuff kind of came into play, like, okay, he's this detective trying to fill in these giant shoes of expectations from his grandfather, and just seeing how like nobody in the department respects him or whatever. And then how things from there just kind of just led to, him encountering Kana, and of course Kana, understandably, not trusting cops and just not trusting a lot of people in general because of what she knows her uncle went through. And I'm also just like very curious to know like what happened on that day, because there's like giant memorials and stuff all over the place for the December 31st day. And just like the beginning of the series, we have that moment again where like this political figures on the stage talking about like, we faced our greatest crisis, but the 20th Century Boys basically was there to stop it, and yada yada yada. And so it's like, what is going on? But yeah, but back to Detective Chosan. And so the way his story kind of like was interweaving with Kana, and how, eventually, he starts, so he kind of gets roped in with her because there was a murder where basically, long story short, basically it was a cop killed this mafia dude or whatever, and basically kind of find out later on that there is a plot to assassinate the Pope, who happened to be in town visiting. And so basically how these things kind of got connected was because there was this And forgive me, I hope I'm using the right verbiage and stuff, but there was this trans character who had witnessed everything. This guy who's, wants to be a lady, named Brittany, and how she had witnessed this murder, and that now the detectives and stuff was trying to track her down. And so it was like so unfortunate how, kind of started to like finally believe and trust Detective Chono. And so, kind of ends up, they get together, whatever. And so they talk, give him this information. And so he feels like, oh, I know somebody I can go and talk to help us out. And we kind of find out it is the detective that ended up causing his grandfather to get killed. So he goes and talks to him. And we find out that this guy has risen through the ranks over these years. And now he's like the top dog of the national police force and all this stuff or whatever. And so when Chono goes and talks to him and just like tells him all this stuff, now the dude, the head detective, gets the guy that killed the other person in this investigation to go after Chono. And so, yeah, just a series of unfortunate events. Chono ends up unexpectedly carrying tracking devices, and that's how the guy tracks him down. That's how Brittany unfortunately got killed in the crossfire and stuff. And then, of course, Kana was freaking furious because when she got back, she's like, I knew I couldn't trust you, because she discovers the tracking devices and stuff in one of the little amulet things that another cop gave him, because they know like, oh, his mother buys him all these amulets or whatever, so they planted tracking devices in them. But anywho, overall, it was just so good. Like I said, just everything from, like I said, like the beginning where we find out the twins are older but part of the cult, to Kenji them getting raided, to them, Kenji having the moment with Kana and stuff, and then, them going to face the robot, it jumping 14 years, and we meeting, like I said, older Kana, Chono-san's grandson, this manga artist that meets Shogun in prison, and all this stuff. But yeah, it is just such a freaking fantastic ride. It was such a great read. Like I said, just wondering like, okay, like how the hell they gonna tie all this stuff up together was just so freaking fantastic to read. And like I said, I am just chomping at the bit to go and pick up volume 4 and get to reading that. So hopefully, y'all be seeing that soon within the next month or so. But yeah, freaking 20th Century Boys, like I said, Perfect Edition Volume 3. Still good, still fantastic. And like I said, it just immediately just reignited my love for this series. So, and I guess I'll say this real quick too, like I said, for anybody that might be listening to this for the first time, the first 20th Century Boys edition was actually the very first physical manga volume I've ever purchased. Because, like I mentioned back when, you might have heard me in other videos or other podcasts or whatever, but I had tried for years, like multiple times, to try to read the first chapter of this or whatever online. But for some reason, I would get like a few pages in, and I was like, fall off. And so with me starting this podcast and stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm going to physically buy it so that it's extra incentive, and to hold myself accountable is like, hey, now you physically have something in your space, you need to read this. And so I gave it a honest shot, because I was like, I'm at least commit to at least reading the first volume, and I did. Freaking loved it. And now I'm 3 volumes in, getting ready to head to volume 4. But yeah, I am just so freaking excited, so in love with this series. But I think it's pretty much going to wrap it up, for what I have to say in this one. Like I said, I did pretty good, took my little notes and stuff for this, so I'm not rambling for too long. But as always, thank y'all for rocking with me. Those of y'all that are watching the video of this, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, leave a comment, tweet at me. You know, just let me know. Reach out to me. Let me know. Are you reading 20th Century Boys? Have you read it, or are you reading along with me? And if so, what do you think of it? You know, and of course, obviously, do not spoil me for nothing past book 3. Please, 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 please be nice to me. Please don't spoil nothing for me. But just let me know, just general thoughts, like what you think of the series, and like I said, what you think of it up to this point. But yeah, as usual, thank y'all for rocking with me. And yeah, we're gonna go head out to the outro, y'all. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like I said, make sure to check out the podcast, check out all my YouTube videos, go to dadneedstalk.com and all that fun stuff. But thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank you so much for your time and your support. And look forward to more of this, as well as just more reviews in general, because I'm gonna try to pump these out, you know, for all the different series that y'all see me post pictures and stuff or whatever. But anyway, enough rambling. Y'all have an awesome day. Y'all have an awesome week. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.